back in Idaho in Coeur d'Alene. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside Anthony Celesto for the first half of this game. It's Dave Fink versus John Iglesias. These two have created quite the rivalry, Anthony, as Dave and John nearly went overtime the last time they played, with I believe a 25-23 win in favor of Dave Fink. Perhaps it was 26-24, but nonetheless, you might recall that Tucson, Arizona match where John Iglesias almost made it to the semifinals there.
Screen. Play over. 2-0.
That's right. Dave tries to guide that ball in after he hits it and then shakes his head. The tape on Dave's shoulder is already coming off on his left arm. He's had some pain there, and he's had to go to the chiropractor the last few days. John Iglesias is a scrapper, and Dave will play you hard. Now, you've played against Dave, and it's one of the most difficult players in handball to play against because he's so intense. Do you feel that when you're in there with him, like, oh my, what do I do against this guy?
Together at 2. Side away. 2 serving 2.
We're all together at 2. 1 game to 25, win by 2. Halftime at 15. I thought that ball would make it. I don't see any screen there whatsoever. I know Dave was close, but not a screen. No. Maybe a screen serve, but not a screen in the middle of that rally.
Mark. 4 serving 2.
Make sure my computer screen is not in the way of your TV monitor, Anthony. I'm sure you got a little ribbing from some of the players here. I saw Luis Cordova giving you a bad time for what he felt that you didn't give Martin Mulkerns a fair chance in that match as you ref the last one. What can you say about that kid? It's probably the first time you've seen him live.
It was unbelievable to watch him play, but in all honesty, when I was reffing the match, those two play at such a high level, speed-wise. You know, they were back and forth so close. It was so hard for me to see what was going on in terms of hinder screen, because they're right back and forth by each other, and I tried to let them play. You know.
Yeah, it's almost like a natural instinct to say, you know, these guys are so fast that I don't think they're really being hindered. But and they don't complain until they finally complain, and then it makes you wonder why, what you did wrong, because you're not changing your reffing style.
Right.
You're reffing everything the same. So I guess you have to stop play a lot. There's a dive right there from John Iglesias, unable to hit the front wall. Dave Fink serving.
6 serving 2.
At 6-2. Iglesias living in Costa Rica.
Took 5 months off. And he's back.
Well, for a guy that takes 5 months off and still be this good, I mean, because he is good.
Oh, yeah, he's great. Don't get me wrong, he's very good.
And that ball made the front wall. He acted like it was 2 bounces, but got up quickly.
Good fake out.
Surprised.
7 serving 2.
I guess no towel is needed.
Short.
He's hardly sweating.
Second serve.
These courts are really fast. I don't know if you've had a chance to play on them, but and the ball is catching extremely well for people watching. You're seeing the ball do real weird things. That could be why.
Side away.
You've played on it. Do you like the courts? Everyone said it's solid. They like it's bright in there, even though the cameras make it look a little dull. But on the court itself, it's actually about as pure as you can possibly get.
Absolutely.
Back wall maybe a little shaky, but it's a solid ceiling, walls, floor is really nice.
Beautiful. Very fast, so it works in favor of some players.
Now, were you here at the previous Plummer event a few years back?
I was not.
What do you think so far?
Unbelievable.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, you couldn't ask for a better host himself, Jake. I mean, and then his whole family and the tribe that he brought
7
along.
serving 3.
Hospitality's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. And when you say tribe, I mean, I believe they are part of the Indian Nation. I mean, they come out here with,
Right.
I mean, they have
The whole artillery.
really have everything all together here. And this is the reason why this tournament sells out every year. For those that say, you know, I'm going to make it next year, you really,
8
literally,
serving 3.
these people have learned they sold out 45 days
Short.
ahead of the tournament entry deadline here. And you were one of the first to enter
And I
because
was
you
gonna
heard the
say,
rumors.
Exactly. I said, hey, I got to get on this. I heard this tournament's unbelievable, and sure enough, I haven't been disappointed. So
Side
I'm
away.
glad I jumped on the bandwagon early. And
Dave Fink
got
tells a
in.
great story about, he said it was so nice, you know, he's one of the few vegetarians that actually plays handball and
3
even comes to
serving
these
8.
tournaments. And he said he was playing his match and then he had to jump into the broadcast booth a couple of years ago and he looked up and Jake Plummer had his mom had a plate full of food that was all vegetarian that she set aside for him because she knew he was on the court
8-3.
playing.
I was in there eating, and there was the whole vegetarian
Short.
sub left. And I said, oh, hey, where's Dave Fink? She goes, oh, no, now he's gluten-free. So I made him gluten-free muffins. So
Second serve.
just the hosts are unbelievable here. Thank you, Plumbers.
They're really good. As we go back into this match here, Dave Fink now living in Tucson, Arizona. He's the development director of the WPH, and there he waves goodbye to that
3
terrible
serving
serving session. 3-8. John Iglesias hits that flat mouse right corner.
Short.
You know, one thing, Dave,
Second
he
serve.
can't let John get on a little run here. If John gets his serve going, John can be quite deadly. Let him get in a little groove.
What do you feel about as Dave takes this back wall slider down the right wall and gets the serve
Side
back?
out.
What do you feel about being the guy to defeat Dave Chapman when he came back from his 2-year layoff, his retirement?
Well, I'm going to take it for what it is. I'm going to say
8
it's a
serving
win.
3.
I played pretty well myself. However, I don't know if he was giving it his all. But I'll take it because not too many people can say they beat Dave Chapman.
Well, I know that he mentored you.
Replay.
That replay was called before John took that shot. I think Dave might just give it to him.
I don't think he's that nice.
Side away. 3-8.
So maybe.
Well, I saw that little friendly paddle that Dave
Mark.
threw at John quickly there, but I guess that didn't
4 serving
mean
8.
I'm giving you a freebie. But nonetheless, you've now defeated Sean Lenning and Dave
Replay.
Chapman and Chip Morales. Who else is on your hit list, Anthony Celesto?
You know, hopefully my next opponent. I'm gonna
Alan
have to-
Garner, I believe.
Yeah, Alan Garner is right. I'm
Mark.
going to have to play pretty well, though.
There's another point for John Iglesias starting to peck away
5
here at
serving
Dave
8.
Fink, 5-8.
Short.
There's
Short
a
ball.
short ball. That one was close.
You disagree?
Sometimes it's tough to see.
And
Okay.
you play in
One
30
disagrees,
minutes,
so
so we'll
short
make
ball.
sure at
Second
about
serve.
15 or so you can go ahead and do what you got to do to stay
Appreciate
fresh
that.
and get ready for Alan.
Look at that kill, Dave.
That's unbelievable.
Up at the shoulder, he shoots it down in the left corner.
But he has this open
8
stance when he does it. He doesn't line his feet up like you and I do with
Right.
our 2 feet facing the left wall. He actually opens up like a tennis swing.
Very unorthodox.
Dave
And beating
Fink's new nickname is the praying mantis. They just call him Mantis because his hands are always
Just in weird positions.
in weird positions.
Well, being the
9
youth
serving
development.
5.
Well,
Or
he
he
has
measures
good
he
form when he hits the ball. It's just the pre-form is something he isn't necessarily
Replay.
developing.
Just check the ball.
But Dave is doing some tremendous
9
work
serving
with
5.
getting kids on the court.
And I was going to say there's got to be a couple hundred at least that I've seen at some of the youth clinics and stuff.
Mark.
And there's a 2-wall pass. Dave hits the front wall, side wall left. Now gets another point, 10-5. I have to say, Dave was a little worried about John Iglesias in this
10
tournament
serving
because
5.
he found what John could do back in Tucson, but you see Dave's got 2 times the score here.
But last time, if I recall correctly, Iglesias got very aggressive, and Dave Fink kind of held back last time they played a little bit down in Tucson because Dave was up by a little bit, and then all of a sudden John made his way back in. And I think that's why Dave's taking a little different approach here and going to go aggressive.
Well, in the next round, Dave had to play Sean Lenning, took him to a tiebreaker. I thought that was Dave's tournament. He has not made the
Replay.
finals of the race for 8 yet, although there were span in time where we can look back and remember when Dave was
11
doing
serving
fairly
five.
well, 2008, 2009, when he defeated Dave Chapman. Excuse me, 2010, when he defeated Dave Chapman and Sean Lenning, and he won 2 pro stops in a row. Or excuse me, won the NYAC by defeating Chapman, and then lost in a pro stop
Okay, 5
in
serving
Detroit
11.
in the finals, but defeated Dave Chapman and Sean Lenning back-to-back tournaments, which is, you know, something that
tough
you almost want to say to yourself, I might
Short.
just quit, never play again.
Never play again. Hang it up on that.
Now you've defeated Dave Chapman and Sean Lenning both in early rounds of 16. Excuse me, qualifier for Chapman, a round of 16 for Sean Lenning.
Mark.
Unforced error there by Dave.
So
Yes, I have.
I told that to Dave. I
Six
said, you know,
serving
Dave,
11.
you and Anthony have
Short.
done the exact same thing. I mean,
Hey, that's impressive.
Second serve.
he did his in tournament wins, and you've
Done mine and,
then you're done your damage in early rounds.
and a
You're the
qualifier.
early round killer.
Yeah, that's hopefully round of
11 serving
16.
6.
And my opponent walks by and winks. I don't know if
Side
That's
out.
not a good sign.
No, I don't think that
He was
is.
nowhere near you. He was nowhere near you.
That's not a good
That's
sign when
six
your
serving
opponent
11.
winks at you.
And then stares at you.
Side out.
Yeah,
11
it's not
serving
good.
6.
I'm going to admit it right now.
Short. Second serve.
It's a nice hard Z serve cut off by John. Looks like John's just flailing his arms out there. Not really concentrating on what he's going to do.
Mark. 12 serving 6.
12 plays 6. Great serve. A little reverse down the right side.
Timeout. Score is 13 serving 6.
It's 13 serve 6. Martin Mulkerns from Ireland reffing this one. Dave Fink now up. Game number 1. It's the only game you play in these early rounds. Now you read the rules.
I did.
Did it frustrate you when the WPH came out and said there's no cursing on the court and that there would be a $100 fine?
No, not at all.
Now, what is your thoughts when these other pro players have actually had a tough time with it and have voiced their opinion? They haven't gone on the social media sites to vent their anger like some other pros would, but there's a few people that aren't happy with this $100 per curse word fine on the live broadcast.
Well, in all honesty, like you said, I think for fan appreciation and just the being good sports, you want to be role models for people that are watching and stuff. And I think that's a good rule to have. I mean, I don't think you should be swearing on the court unless, yeah.
Well, your opponent says that if he was paid 6 times the amount that he currently gets paid, then this type of rule should be okay. But we're talking about a $100 fine versus a $100,000 or some other type of fine that you get in another major sport.
13
Yeah,
serving
you know
6.
what? Honestly, I think everyone has their own little scuffle, and don't swear. I mean,
I don't
If
swear
there's
at the
people-
library, and I don't even get paid to
Side
be
away.
there. I don't throw F-bombs at
that's
the
good.
grocery store, and I'm actually giving them money.
right? You're
Six
actually
serving
paying them.
13.
Yeah,
You're not even
I
swearing
mean, there's
back.
basic rules of life, I would assume.
But you know, it's not about the money.
Side away.
In all honesty, you just play, and if you're not
13
playing
serving
bad,
6.
you shouldn't be swearing. If you're not doing things, you know.
One pro player said, "What's the difference between phooey and the F word?" And my response
check
was
the ball.
$100.
That's a,
Play
that's a
over.
That's
valid
actually a
point.
difference.
That's a
13
big
serving
difference.
6.
Yeah,
I would not want to be $100
Short.
down.
that's probably the difference.
Second serve.
But you know what? I think all the pros, all the players that are participating in these events have a good head on their shoulders and aren't going to be ruthless and throwing
14
swears
serving
out there.
6.
At least I hope. Sometimes they slip, but
Mark.
you know,
15. 3 minutes.
sometimes you poop your pants.
This would be
so
one of the
it's
few. It would be one of the few times in a tournament where I would, if I were in the money round, actually have to go to them and pay them a few dollars,
okay.
because I know that would happen. Now Dave Fink finally noticing that his left shoulder wrap is coming off here as he leads in halftime at 15. up against one of his biggest foes, John Iglesias. We're going to take a quick break. Anthony. John's going to take his little 2-minute break or so. You are also going to get ready for your match coming up in about 10 points from now. So I'll also excuse you from the broadcast booth.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having
It's been
me.
nice. Well, it's always nice being had. We'll talk to you in just a few.
Absolutely.
Anthony Celeste going up against Alan Garner after this one, as Dave Fink faces John Iglesias. We'll also take a break. We'll be back in just a bit. Stick here at racefor8.com.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
We are different. Society should aspire to be more like us.
Be part of the first class. Get energized. Get outside.
Hold on, guys. It's gonna get bumpy.
And get moving. Experience the power of physical activity. Join the movement at actionheroalliance.com.
1 second. Okay, second half, Jonathan serving, 6 serves, 15.
Well, you heard the referee give us pretty much the update that we needed. 6-15 with John Iglesias serving to start the second half versus Dave Fink. Referee is Martin Mulkerns. Dave Fink pretty much dominant in the first half. Sloppy play from both players. A lot of congestion. And Fink dives in and gets that ball. John's also going to try for that one. Doesn't get it. Upset with himself. Dave Fink gets the side out, but boy, what an amazing get from Dave Fink. He might call for the towel. This is just a stall tactic, I believe.
Okay.
Looks around to see if he can find anything wet. He knows that his knees aren't wet. Here now, 15-6. Make that 16-6.
16 serving 6. Play over. Serving 6. Side away. 6 serves 16.
Watch what Dave does here. Dave, for some reason, has found a weakness on the right hand of John Iglesias, and you can see he exploits it. Gets another point. Dave going to the right hand of John. And let's see if he stays over there. No, goes back to the left. I like that serve. Sometimes you can find that these guys have a better defensive shot with their offhand, but their offense might be struggling with their strong hand. So Dave finds the weakness. Not just Dave, but other pro players will find a weakness and they'll stick with it. And he found one with John. He's pushing him around. He sees John is out of shape. That's why Dave's really quick to get back into the service box, and he's ready immediately when the referee calls the score. He wants to get the play back in, and that's just a terrible mistake from Dave Fink, who now yells at himself. John Iglesias trying to get something something going on here so he can get some points. During the 2-minute, 3-minute between game timeout, Iglesias came over and said that he was going to win this.
Second serve. Replay. Seventeen serving 6. Side away. Six serving 17. Side away.
You heard that side out call from our referee, Martin Mulkerns.
17 serve 6.
17-6, Dave Fink pushing that left-handed shot over there. John goes defensive. Dave goes with a tomahawk and gets another point.
Mark.
I'm not sure if Dave wanted to manifest that point in that exact same way, but he is getting the points. There's a timeout called from John Iglesias. Dave Fink's going to call the timeout. Or excuse me, going to take that timeout as John's going to try to just linger around the court just a little bit. As we look around the Peak Health and Wellness Center here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and Jake Plummer is working as hard as anyone I've ever seen run a tournament desk, trying to learn on the fly. He's coordinating refs, getting people on courts. They are running just slightly late on some of these courts, but Jake Plummer is, I've never seen anybody run around so much. It's sort of like when he played for Arizona. And I'm not trying to be funny.
The score is 18 serving 6.
He has no blockers right now either.
Mark.
We will have Jake in the broadcast booth when he can free up some time.
19 serving 6.
19-6, Dave Fink going over to the right, catching John a little off guard. Oh, nice shot, nice shovel right there, back to the front wall. Dave right down the middle. John makes a strange paddle shot.
Mark.
Dave goes left-handed kill. Those are so frustrating. Hard to play against Dave Fink.
20 serving 6.
He hits every ball 2 inches high.
Mark.
And another point for Dave Fink, 21-6. John Iglesias looks like he's down for the count.
21 serving 6.
John Iglesias has been on 6 for 23 minutes.
Short. Okay. Second serve. Come on, you've only 10 seconds. Quick. Okay.
Martin Mulkerns telling Dave Fink that he had 10 seconds to get that serve.
Mark.
Dave said, I was just walking up to get the ball.
22 serving 6.
22-6 score here. Another point for Dave Fink. And Dave looks just automatic right now. That left-handed serve is what's setting the table.
23 serving 6.
Referee is allowing these quick serves, 23-6, short ball. Dave's appealing.
Agree, both agree, short ball, second serve.
Oh, Dave goes with a little paddle shot.
I'm gonna replay that.
John Iglesias stepped right in front of Dave. Dave looks back to the ref. Referee gives it to him, and now Dave's still serving at 23-6.
23 serving 6. Serving 6.
Looks like the writing's on the wall for John Iglesias. 24-6. Coming up next, it'll be Nadi Alvarado and Armando Ortiz. Nadi's going to really try to bank on having a great year this year, but he's going to go up against a buzzsaw in the next round. And there it is. Dave Fink makes it to the round of 8 once again here at the Race for 8. Never lost in the round of 16. Advances past one of his biggest foes, John Iglesias, 25-6. We'll have another great match coming up right around the corner. But before we go, we will have an interview with one of these players. Hopefully in this broadcast booth, they've been forewarned that they have to be here within 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and have Dave Fink step in really quickly here. Dave, I know it's hard to hear because the crowd's really pushed in here, but you felt before you came into this match that John Iglesias was one of those guys you wanted to stay away from. I know that when you pulled his name in the blind draw, you probably sat back and said, this couldn't have been any worse than this. But you went in there and just defeated him 25-6, and you did it with a great serve and a first strike right afterwards. What are your thoughts right now?
Well, I was frankly worried about everyone that I could have faced because everyone here is so good. And there was really no easy match for me to get. And, last time John and I played, I beat him 27-25 in overtime. And, I was expecting a really, really hard match. John really hasn't been playing that much, and I think he was a little bit fatigued from his first 2 matches today. And, I got my shots going. I changed the game on him a little bit by going to some lob serves and going to the ceiling, which I'm trying to incorporate into my game this season. And it seemed to work. He seemed to be pretty frustrated and overhit a lot of shots and made a lot of unforced errors. So it's nice that, I was able to get through there and pain-free, and I'm excited about tomorrow.
Well, let's take a quick look at your next round. It looks like you're going to face Sean Linning defeated Dave Chapman earlier. Now it's Emmett Peixote versus Marco Chavez. It'll be on this live broadcast match in about an hour or so from right now. So you're going to go up against what looks like to be Nadi Alvarado or Armando Ortiz. That one's going to come up right after this one, your match. They're warming up now on the show court. It's kind of a toss-up who's going to win that one. I mean, you got the 40-year-old Nadi Alvarado. You got the young Armando, who looks incredible so far at this tournament. Nadi's actually rededicated himself. Let's just say Nadi went on to win. You feel confident probably with that. You did defeat him at the Nationals a few years back, but then Armando Ortiz looks deadly right now. Who would you rather face?
Well, first of all, I don't think anybody feels confident against Nadi. I mean, he's got the firepower to really take the match out of your hands. He's got that amazing serve, and he's just a great all-around player. I've only beat Nadi once in probably 12 times that we've played on the tour, going back 20 years. Mondo, I have a better record against, but Mondo's another one of those guys where if he's hot, it's not much you can do. I've been fortunate to beat Mondo 4 out of 6. I actually think it's a bad draw for Mondo because he has wins against Alan Garner and some of those other guys in that 5 through 8. He pulled Nadi, who I think is his nemesis. So I think Nadi will be too tough for him. I expect to play Nadi. I'd be happy for Mondo, of course. I'm a big fan of Mondo, but I'm expecting to play Nadi. We've played a lot of times. It was funny because I kept getting closer and closer, and then I finally did beat him. And since I beat him, the gap has widened even worse.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much said, hey, look, your time is not now. It's still mine. So maybe I shouldn't have beat him. I could still be getting in there and getting to close third games against him. But I'm excited. It's the first event of the season. I've had a lot of anxiety coming in here. You want to try and get yourself in a good position to make it to Salt Lake City. And a first-round loss in the first event is pretty devastating. So at least now I'm, as it stands now, I would be in Salt Lake City, and that's all I ever think about. So first step accomplished, and then, tomorrow I hope I can do as well as I did tonight.
Okay, before we let you go, let's talk about what's going on with your left shoulder. You had a wrap on, and it looked like it was coming off in the middle of that after the first half, and at halftime it looks like you may have addressed it and just pulled it off completely. What's going on with your shoulder, and how are you feeling?
Well, I injured it in a really silly injury about a week and a half ago. I was teaching a handball lesson at the one-wall courts, and I was a little bit early. I hit a ball as hard as I could with the big ball overhand from about 45 feet, and just felt my shoulder just felt like it tore off. It's just so painful. I've had a hard time sleeping with the throbbing, but it's one of those things that adrenaline seems to cure. Once I started to get my sweat going, I never felt it, but to even try and warm up is nearly impossible for me, to throw the ball. But I can't complain. I didn't have any problems with it in the match.
Well, Dave, really good win, and I know that the camera's just going to see my hand come up here as I shake your hand. Congratulations, and we'll have another great match coming up, and good luck in your next round match, whether that's Armando Ortiz or Nati Alvarado.
Thanks,
but
Dave.
Good playing today.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to have another one coming up. It shows us on this live broadcast that we're going to have Anthony Celesto or Alan Garner, but in reality it's supposed to be Armando Ortiz and Nati Alvarado. We're going to try to sort that out. Whether or not it's going to be either one of those, it's going to be a great match. So get ready. We'll have more action here at racefor8.com. Stick with us.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards!
Oh, don't. Oh,
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it comes.
oh no!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you. Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.